everyone, welcome back to the second video of Limited Liability Partnership. We have learned the basic concepts related to the Limited Liability Partnership Act yesterday. Today, first we are going to learn about the features of Limited Liability Partnership. In features, the first feature of Limited Liability Partnership is, before we learn the concepts related to the feature, uh, this question can be asked in exam. What is meant by limited liability partnership? Explain the features in detail. We have lot many points related to this which you can write in exam and explain the points also. First point, as you can see, is body corporate. First you need to know what body corporate is if you don't know till now. Body corporate broadly means a corporate entity which has a legal existence. If anyone is having a legal existence, it is called as body corporate. The term body corporate is defined in section 2 of Companies Act 2013. This include a private company, public company, one-person company, small company, limited liability partnership, and even foreign company, etc. Right? So as our first point is body corporate, how it is the feature, how it is the feature under limited liability is, under section 3 of LLP Act provides that LLP is a body corporate formed and incorporated under this act and is a legal entity separate from that of its partner. If you know, if you remember, in partnership there is no separate entity. Here it is a separate entity. This limited liability partnership firm can be sued and can also sue the other. Second feature is perpetual succession. This you already know, you have studied it in accounts also. How it is related to LLP? In LLP, the LLP can continue its existence irrespective of changes in partners, right? Either partner die or partner leaves the limited liability partnership. Death, insanity, retirement, insolvency of partner has no impact on the existence of LLP. It is capable of entering into contracts and holding the property in its own name. The property of the corporate will not be on the name of the partners, it will be in the name of LLP because of the feature of perpetual succession. Then you have a separate legal entity. The LLP is a separate legal entity, is liable to the full extent of its asset, but liability of the partner is limited to the agreed contribution in their LLP. While making the LLP, they in the documents they can write down that this is the liability of Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. C, very well defined. In other words, you can say creditors of LLP shall be the creditor of LLP alone, right? So next, fourth point is mutual agency. Further, no partner is liable on account of the independence or unauthorized action of other partners, right? One partner is responsible for its own actions and things. Thus, you can say individual partners are shielded from joint liability created by another partner's wrongful business decision or any misconduct done by a particular person. Mr. A and B both are the partner in a limited liability partnership. Mr. A has done some misconduct. This misconduct will not impact the liability of Mr. B, right? In other words, you can say all the partners will be the agent of LLP alone. No one partner can bind the other partner by his own act. I repeat this line, which is important. No one partner can bind other partner by his. The last point in this slide is LLP agreement. Mutual rights and duties of partner within LLP are governed by an agreement between the partners. The LLP Act 2008 provides flexibility to the partners to devise the agreement as per their choice. In the absence of any such agreement, The mutual rights and duties shall be governed by the provisions of LLP Act 2008. So we have learned 5 features. I repeat the names. First feature we have done is LLP is a body corporate. Second, LLP is having a perpetual succession. Third, separate legal entity. Fourth, mutual agency. And fifth is LLP agreement. Now the sixth point is artificial legal person. A LLP is an artificial legal person because it is created by a legal process and is clothed with all rights of an individual. It can do everything which any natural person can do, except for course that it cannot be sent to jail. Obviously, you cannot send a company to a jail. Same way, limited liability partnership cannot be sent to it's an artificial body. Cannot take an oath, cannot marry, cannot get divorced, not can it practice a learned professionals like any medicine or any another chartered accountancy or company secretariat or any another thing. LLP is a invisible, intangible, or even you can say it's immortal. It cannot be dissolved by it can only be it cannot be dissolved by death. It can only be dissolved by the law alone, whether mutually or by forceful, but not fictitious because it's really exists. It is not fictitious, it really exists, right? Another seventh feature of the limited liability partnership is common seal. A LLP, being an artificial person, can act through its partners and designated partners. LLP may have a common seal if it decide to have one, right? Usually, companies have this common seal, but LLP must also have it, but it is not mandatory. Thus, it is not mandatory for LLP to have a common seal, right? It shall remain under the custody of some responsible official, and it shall be fixed in the presence of at least 2 designated partners of LLP. Next feature of limited liability is the most important feature, which is also in the name, limited liability. Every partner of LLP is for the purpose of business of LLP, the agent of LLP. They will be called as agent of LLP, but not of other partners. One partner will not act as an agent of another partner. Whereas in partnership firm, one partner act as an agent of another partner also. And need not to say, the liability of the partners will be limited to the agreed contribution in the LLP while making an agreement. Next feature is management of business. The partners in the LLP are entitled to manage the business of LLP, but not only the designated partner are responsible for the legal compliances. I repeat, the designated partners would be having a separate one more additional duty of responsibility of handling the legal compliances, whereas all other partners are entitled to manage the business as per the requirement. Next feature is minimum and maximum number of partners. Every LLP shall have at least 2 partners and shall also have at least 2 individuals as designated partners, of whom at least one shall be a resident of India. There is no maximum limit of the partners in the LLP. For who is called as resident, we have to refer to the income tax law for finding out who is a resident, who is a non-ordinary resident, or who is an ordinary resident. The last point in this slide of feature is business for profit only. Very simple. LLP cannot be formed for charitable or non-economic purposes, right? The essential requirement for forming LLP is carrying on lawful business with a view to earn profit. If you have a view of non-profit organization, NGO, then you cannot form LLP. In the last slide of features, we have 12th point called as investigation. The central government shall have power to investigate the affairs of LLP by appointment of competence authority for the purpose. As you can refer to the part 1 video in which we have shared one news that many companies after the formation of LLP start converting them from the form of company to LLP. So in that it can be investigated. Next point of feature is compromise or arrangement. Any compromise or arrangement including merger or you can say amalgamation of LLP shall be in accordance with the provision of LLP Act 2008. 14th, conversion into LLP. A firm, private company or an unlisted public company would be allowed to convert into LLP in accordance with the provision. E-filing of documents. Every form or application or of document required to be filled or delivered under the Act and rules under thereof shall be filed in computer readable electronic form on the website of MCA. The website of MCA is www.mca.gov.in and authenticated by a partner or designated partner of LLP by the use of electronic media and digital signature. Last but not the least, e-filing of documents. Last but not the least, the feature of LLP is foreign LLP. Under section 2 defines foreign limited liability partnership as a limited liability partnership formed, incorporated, or you can say registered outside India, which establishes a place of business within India. Foreign LLP can become a partner in an Indian LLP. So that are the 16 points which we have learned under the feature of LLP. Now there are some major advantages of forming of LLP firm. LLP is organized and operate on the basis of an agreement which is formed while making the LLP. Provide flexibility without imposing detailed legal and procedural requirement. It's easy to form a LLP as compared to a company. All partners enjoy limited liability. Flexible capital structure. Nothing is fixed that this is the requirement. Easy to dissolve. Once you make a company, it is a difficult and a huge process to dissolve a company, whereas in the case of LLP, it is easy to dissolve the LLP. Now, what is the process of making an LLP? First is decide partners and designated partners, then obtain DPIN and digital signature certificate. Can anyone think what is the meaning of DPIN? The hint is in this. Okay, answer is designated partners identification number. I repeat, designated partners identification number is called as DPIN. Then second process is obtaining DPIN and digital signature certificate. Third is checking the availability of name. Up to 6 choices can be indicated. If that name has not been chosen, right, whatever first choice, second choice, whichever name is available will be allocated. Drafting the LLP agreement, most important thing for the partners. Here you have to decide the duties, you have to decide the designated partner. Here you have to also decide what is the liability of a particular partner. Then electronic filing of some documents required. And the last is issuing certificate of incorporation along with LLP Limited Liability Partnership Identification Number. There are three major steps for incorporation of LLP. First step is name reservation. The first step to incorporate limited liability partnership is reservation of name of LLP. It should be identical from anyone else. Applicant has to file E-Form 1 for ascertaining the availability and reservation of the name of LLP business. So step 1 is name reservation. Second step is incorporate LLP. After reserving a name in the step 1, user has to file E-Form 2 in First step, we have filled E form 1. Here we are filling E form 2 for incorporating a new limited liability partnership. E form 2 contains the detail of LLP proposed to be incorporated, partners, designated partner details, consent of the partners, designated partners to act as a partner and a designated partner. Mr. U, in a form it is said Mr. A will be a designated partner. He has to give his consent that yes, I agree to be a designated partner of this limited liability partnership. Last step is LLP agreement. Execution of LLP agreement is mandatory as per section 23 of the Act. LLP agreement is required to be filled with the registrar in E form 3. So it is very easy to remember. Step 1 E form 1, step 2 E form 2, step 3 E form 3 within 30 days of incorporation of LLP. Difference between LLP and partnership firm and difference between LLP and an LLC. We will learn this in the part 3 of the video in the next lecture. Let's revise today's topic with some of the MCQ. First question is Ministry of Corporate Affairs enforce the LLP Act with effect from. For this you have to refer the part 1 of the video. 4 options are there: 31st March 2008, 1st April 2008, 31st March 2009, 1st April 2009. If you have referred the video, you would have found the answer. The right answer is option C, that is 31st March 2009. Ministry of Corporate Affairs enforced the LLP Act. Next MCQ is whether partnership law applies to LLP. 2 options, yes, no. Answer is no. Partnership Act do not applies to LLP firm. Last MCQ for today is state which of the statement is correct under the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. 2 options, all partners have unlimited liability, all partners have limited liability. Without giving a second thought, the answer is all partners have limited liability. It is in the name only. Limited word is in the name of the chapter, Limited Liability Partnership. That's all for today's lecture. Be safe and be healthy, and see you in the next video to learn the further part of this chapter. Thank you all.